Hey YouTube, so I am in the midst of telling you about my moving experience with National Relocation Van Lines. Again, I'm gonna try not to recap videos. I hate it when people do the 5-part videos and they spend a third of the video recapping, so I'm just not gonna. So picking up where I left off in the last video, I slept for a few hours on the floor of my now empty house and drove down to North Carolina at about 2 in the morning with my dog and 50 snakes and the other stuff I owned, which is very little because 50 snakes take up a lot of room in a car. I got there at around 10:30, and our delivery dates were the 31st, so the day I would have arrived, and we had guaranteed delivery on the 1st. The 31st, so I got down to North Carolina. I was just, at this point, I was kind of dazed. I hadn't had hardly any sleep. Driving since 2 a.m. was kind of weird. And I got to the house, the only thing in the house is my fiance and the rats and a blow-up mattress. And I was just it was really difficult telling my fiance that I had signed away all of our life savings to this moving company, because I didn't know what else to do. There are some situations in life that really remind you that you are just one part of something way bigger, and that you can't just personally take charge of everything, and you don't have it all together. This was one of them. Having to explain that was really hard, because even now I can't tell you why I didn't throw a fit, or I don't know, but I just didn't know what else to do. Anyway, so we tried calling Ryan, we tried calling Leo, we tried calling customer service, and nobody answered. We tried calling them all day on a Friday, or on a Thursday. We tried calling them all day on a Thursday during business hours, and nobody picked up. We tried Ryan's personal phone, nobody picked up. So it was around this time that I started to notice some things that I hadn't noticed before. For instance, the voicemail box when you called customer service answered like this. So in normal business, right, you call them up and you get customer service, and they're like, oh, your call is very important to us. You've reached National Relocation Van Lines services. If you leave us a call, we'll give you a call back as soon as we possibly can. Thank you so much. They try to make it really personable. The actual voice recording was more like one of those personal voice boxes that you get when you set up your cell phone, and it was customer service is not available. Please leave a message at the sound of the beep. And now, and then it seemed really weird to me that they wouldn't have an actual recording on a box recorder, that it was almost a cell phone voice box taking care of customer service. And the other weird thing was that when we called Ryan's personal cell phone, Ryan never answered his personal cell phone, that he had no voicemail box set up. None. And I don't know why that didn't weird me out the first time, but now it was it was just a pit of despair, dropping into my stomach every time I heard this Verizon customer has no voice box set up, and I don't know what to do. So we couldn't get in touch with anybody. 31st was over. The snakes, meanwhile, we'd put them in our guest room. They're in like Tupperware and snake bags, because we thought that they were going to be there. We have a clutch of very expensive eggs that still haven't hatched after this whole thing, that was in a temporary incubator that we built the night before we left. They're just kind of hanging out. The rats were in, tubs as well. Just, we thought for a day or two. We didn't have heating supplies. We didn't have anything with us because that wasn't what was supposed to happen. So the 31st finished. We had heard nothing from the moving company. The next day, August 1st, which was our guaranteed delivery date, again, we heard absolutely nothing. We called all day. Did nothing but call, really, because it's just us and the blow-up mattress. So we did nothing but call Ryan and Leo and customer service and every other number that we could get a hold of for National Relocation, to no avail. Nobody ever picked up, and we left message after message after message after message to all of them, and no one ever returned our phone call. Nothing. So then, I started to get really, really nervous. And I don't know what came over me, but I Googled, the only thing we did have was the internet, and I had my laptop, and I Googled moving scam for the first time. And I can't tell you how horrible it was to go on Protect Your Move and read the red flags of moving scams and feel like ours ticked every single box. And then reading about people who had dealt with moving scams that never saw their things again, where the moving companies would just get them for what money they could, and then they would disappear with their stuff and sell it to places, or people that would have the moving company randomly show up 6 months later on their doorstep. And I didn't know what to think. And the weekend was coming up, so there was nobody I could really contact. Everybody was out of the office by that point. And things then got even creepier. I wanted to get as much information about National Relocation as I could, to prepare myself and to possibly track them down. I checked out their website initially, to see if they listed an address, because the guy had told me that they had a hub in Raleigh, and I was like, if I have to drive to Raleigh, which is a 2.5 hour drive, if I have to drive to Raleigh, I will drive to Raleigh and I will kick their door in, and I will do what I have to do to get our shit back. So I looked to see if I could find the address in Raleigh. Two things I discovered almost simultaneously. The first was that Protect Your Move, or one of those websites, said that a lot of moving scams will put up what they call a dummy website, which is where they hire an IT person to basically put up a web skeleton. So the website looks really good on the outside, but when you start clicking links and doing more research, this stuff is either broken or it goes somewhere that isn't real. They'll put up comment feed that goes to the news or stuff that doesn't matter. And sure enough, that was National Relocation's website. They claimed a presence on Facebook, on YouTube, on Google+, and I looked at every single one of those so the links were broken to those media outlets, and when I did more homework, they're not on any of their platforms. I'll probably be the first one talking about them on this platform. They say on their website that they are A+ accredited with the Better Business Bureau and a member of the Motor Carriers Association of America. I checked out the Motor Carriers of America website. They are not listed. The Better Business Bureau, they are not accredited with, and their review rating is a C-, not an A+. So that's not good. So then the other thing I noticed was, so that was freaky, but then I noticed that on their website they listed an address in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm living in Charlotte, and I thought, gee, well, I can go right down there now and kick in the door. So, and I don't know what made me do this, but I Google street searched the address, and it was an apartment complex. Not a business park, not anything. It was the front of an apartment complex. And I was just, so the full weight of that didn't really hit me at first. Then I Googled their DOT number, which was posted, and that was linked to a different address in Georgia, I believe. And come to find out that National Relocation is associated with several DOT numbers listed to several different addresses in many different states on the East Coast. I Google Street Search every single address, and they are every single one an apartment complex, which was really disturbing to me. Just knowing that all of the addresses were fake. I don't know. I mean, and I can't say for sure that they're fake. Maybe they have apartments there, but really, like, I'm talking residential apartments. And I did the whole thing where I, like, turned the Google Street car around and, like, looked around. There was no business park, no nothing, just apartment complexes. You know, and God knows what they're doing with their stuff. Meanwhile, and I had also been calling up reptile associations, stores, breeders, rescues, trying to find people to take in our animals, if the worst should happen. And everybody said the same thing, which was basically that no one was going to risk the health of their collection to take in our collection. Which I get. I mean, I get that. Nobody knows how I keep my animals. I don't know how they keep their animals. I don't know what diseases they have. I don't know what they don't. I understand. And people's collections are valuable and take a lot of time to grow. But it was still really hard to hear that we didn't have any recourse. And, you know, people are like, well, we can hook you up with people that can make you racks and things if they get stolen. And here I am, who's $7,000 in debt to this moving company, and I don't have, you know, $300 to drop on a new rack to put 5 snakes in. I just don't. So we moved all the animals into the garage, thinking it would be warmer that way, and keep a steadier temperature and get them off the ground. That's as best we could really do at that point. Finally, towards the end of the day on August 1st, we got a phone call we didn't get a phone call. Sorry, I'm fucking this all up. We got in touch with, so I remembered somewhere out of the blue that Philip had been contacted by the foreman for the move down, like 2 hours before the truck showed up on moving day. And I was like, try calling him. Finally, we get through to somebody. And we finally get put through to the warehouse manager in Baltimore. And the guy tells us that the truck is still there in Baltimore. And when we were like, will we have a guaranteed delivery date? He was like, so that's just the way it is. Also, another thing that we were promised that I failed to mention earlier in the video was that our items would not be consolidated onto a truck. A lot of times, broker moving companies will, like, take out, like, our 26-foot rider truck. They would bring that to a warehouse with a couple of other 26-foot rider trucks, and consolidate them onto a larger truck and then move to various locations with the one truck dropping things off. To us, that's how things get broken, that's how things get lost, and we did not want that to be our stuff. So we were promised by Ryan that that would not happen. So the warehouse manager explained to us that our things had been consolidated onto a truck, that it was still in Baltimore, and that despite our guaranteed delivery date of August 1st, that the truck would not arrive until August 3rd. And that there was nothing we could do. And that it was just there till August 3rd. We did everything we could to explain to him that we had animals that needed their heat. We tried to do everything we could, and to everything he just kept saying, like, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. But at least now we knew that the truck was coming. Eventually. We knew the truck was coming. But still, like, we felt like we didn't know if they were actually going to show up or not. All of this research I had done, like, I knew that they were a scam moving company at this point. So these people had my things hostage somewhere in America, maybe Baltimore. I didn't know if he was lying to me or not. And there wasn't really anything I could do about it except wait and see if they showed up on Monday. So this is part 4 of this series. The last part will be the final part 5, which was the finale of this whole situation. If you're still with me, thank you so much. If I can stop one person from making the same mistakes I did, I will be so grateful, so grateful. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you in part 5.